Okay, everybody, thanks for joining us today. I'm here with Joel Dietz, creator of Art Wallet and founder of MetaMask, the popular web wallet for Ethereum. We're going to be talking about some basics of crypto wallets today. So, Joel, thanks a lot for joining me. Would you like to introduce yourself briefly and tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a fellow at MIT. I work on research behind the future of kind of smart cities and blockchains, and also have been very active in founding sort of the field of crypto economics as a sort of academic discipline, including, being involved in the very early days of Ethereum, which went on to create an open source project that became MetaMask, which I think now is the most popular blockchain wallet.
And what is a crypto wallet? Just the very basic, bare bones definition.
So at its most basic level, a wallet is something to store assets. It's like having a bank account, and it gives you the ability to control via what's called a private key, which in some ways is very similar to a key that you would use for a safe deposit box, for example. The ability to open and move your assets and access what you have.
And how do crypto wallets actually work? Could you break it down for someone who's a total newbie to this?
Sure. So it goes back to how blockchains work. For your bank, usually there's one copy of all the data, in a server or on a computer somewhere in your bank's office. And for a blockchain, it's different. There's a bunch of different copies. Everyone can keep their own copy of it. And then this updates every so often in what's called a block. So you basically have a ton of different versions. And everyone can see. It's transparent to the world who has what. And basically this key thing I was talking about, your private key, allows you to open your wallet and move whatever's there. So that process is called signing a transaction.
And what can someone do with the crypto wallet? Anything in addition to signing transactions?
Well, yeah, you can store, and then there's many more complicated, use cases that go beyond the standard wallet. One of them that's very exciting is DAOs and governance and voting and kind of being able to perform more complex actions. For example, inside games, there's a lot of different functions that people are doing. So that's kind of the evolving space, and yeah, a lot of exciting things that are coming in that realm right now.
And this one's a little more complicated, but again, just briefly, could you explain the difference between a software wallet and a hardware wallet?
A software wallet is something that either exists in your web browser or that you install and basically lives on your computer. And then sometimes you can have something on an app, but a hardware wallet is where the signing, the kind of important part of your private key that we said is kind of the secret sauce to everything, and also where all the security is on a separate piece of hardware that is deliberately designed to be very secure. And so basically that gives you a much better use. And I generally always recommend if people have any significant amount of assets that they use a hardware wallet.
And why is that? What is it that makes hardware wallets more secure?
Well, basically, whenever you're using something on your computer, you might be using the private key to sign something, like we said. And if anyone else ever gets access to your computer, if they're looking over your shoulder, if there's some bug or virus or whatever it is, then that person can steal your private key. And when they get your private key, they can take all of your money. So unlike a bank, which has at least ability to back it up or reverse transactions, there's no ability to do that in a blockchain. So whenever something like that happens, you could easily lose all your money, which is why, the private or hardware wallet is so important.
I want to get into a little bit of the projects you've worked on specifically. I know you're working on something called Art Wallet right now. Tell us a little bit about that and what the intention behind that is.
So yeah, right now in the industry, people are really excited about NFTs, but there aren't a lot of people building the core infrastructure behind what makes NFTs successful, and particularly the next generation of NFTs. So, being able to provide mystery boxes, exclusive content, audio visual streaming, the kind of insurance behind things, really capturing the valuation criteria, portfolio management, and really a lot of the sort of next generation things that people looking at the NFT markets today kind of, wish existed. And so we pulled together a really talented, technical team to kind of start working on some of these things, and as well as just some, incredible partners from, let's say, the OG world of crypto to kind of help deliver the highest value combination of those things.
Interesting.
And one of the exciting things about it too is a lot of the original wallets, they were built to work with one blockchain. For example, MetaMask was built around Ethereum originally, and there weren't even a lot of blockchains out there doing, NFT, smart contract, that kind of functionality. Now it's a very broad world. So I think we'll be one of probably the first wallet really to think through the multi-chain, multi-coin world and really bridge into the metaverse, which is, all of the VR, AR, digital asset, gaming space that's evolving right now, which often has very different and sometimes complex, visuals and workflows and things. And we're basically providing the gateway into that whole world.
Now, is Art Wallet a web-based wallet that works as a browser extension like MetaMask, or is it something?
No, we're building sort of from the ground up, so as a custom piece of software, and we'll also have mobile versions and integration with hardware wallets, because security is a very important part of the overall equation.
Fascinating. Okay, and would you tell me about your early work with MetaMask? And pretty much everyone has heard of MetaMask at this point. People I know who interact with DeFi protocols or decentralized applications almost always use MetaMask. So just could you tell me a little bit about how you got involved with that project back in the early days, and what it was like working on that?
Yeah, I was sitting in a room with Vitalik, original kind of founder of Ethereum, and Gav Wood, who wrote the Ethereum Yellow Paper, and we were talking about sort of infrastructure behind Ethereum. And I said, guys, they're basically, everyone is downloading these clients now, like they're called Atlas Zero, Mist, whatever. But the user experiences weren't great, and I believed and told everyone there that the ultimate experience is going to be delivered in a browser, because it's just so much more accessible. That's where the sort of mainstream audience was, and I was someone who was always passionate about bridging between, difficult concepts like Ethereum was, 7 years ago, and the mainstream world. So bringing things into the browser was something that I thought was very important. And I had started pretty much all of the meetups in sort of the Bay Area at that point, with some other great co-founders and people who were there and did some education. So I knew a number of very talented JavaScript engineers who had been building things. And I said, I think we can build a team to basically build this wallet infrastructure into a browser extension. So Vitalik and Gav signed off on the idea. They said, that's great. We'll fund it from the kind of Ethereum Dev Grants program. And, then I wrote up the proposal. We applied to Y Combinator. Y Combinator rejected us because they said they didn't understand the purpose of smart contracts. But then the project went forward, and eventually it was kind of privatized by. So that's basically it. I did not really build a lot of the code behind it, but kind of the original idea of putting it in a browser extension was sort of my idea, and I kind of spearheaded the whole initial development of the project.